Hi everybody, welcome to your first supper club of 2010. We understand there are 23 supper clubs and 170 folks attending, so welcome. We're especially aware that there are some folks who aren't members of Montview who are part of the supper clubs, which is really great. So if you're new to Montview and our church groups, welcome. We're glad you're here. We also understand there might be some people who were a little reluctant about going to a church supper club. Yeah, so
if it's never been top on your priority list to go to a church supper club, we still hope that you may actually warm up to this idea and enjoy it and have fun.
So thanks for being there, even if this wasn't your idea of a great Friday night or something. And then there's the technology.
Yeah, some of you may not be. The whole YouTube video may be a bit of a challenge for some of you. Of course, our younger members, it's the way of life for them. But for some of us, technology's been a learning curve for us. So hopefully you've been able to figure out how to do this and even how to see the video before you come, if that's what you want. So hopefully that's working for everybody.
If you're watching this,
yeah,
congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. Supper Club is a chance to sit at dinner in a nice relaxed atmosphere and listen to different opinions and different ideas that people have. So if you have the what's the word I want? An innate
need to
fix things or something to have to correct someone or fix them. What we want to say is let this be a time when you really come and commit to listening open-heartedness to each other, and so anyway, we hope you'll have a great time.
Yeah, and the other chance that we hope that Supper Club is a chance to go beyond the kind of usual surface stuff you might have at a dinner conversation, a social function that you're going to. We often use the phrase "conversations that matter." That's what church can provide, is a forum where you can be talking to folks about things that really matter in your life. So,
and trust the people around the table with you, because we're all a part of this community together.
Right.
So.
And that may take some time, because some of these groups are brand new, and so. But the hope is, I think, after 4 or 5 times together, that you're starting to get to know each other and starting to really talk about your lives. So the invitation is there. We know that may take some time to build trust, but the invitation's there.
So what we do is each month when we do our video, we try to reflect on something, give you a little bit of starter conversation, a few ideas from our heads and hearts. And so this time for the first one, we thought, I thought it would be great to talk about names, because...
Why would we do that?
I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know.
Names. Some of you know that, or I guess most of you probably know that I have had an interesting journey with my own name this summer. I had a sabbatical, and during that time, particularly at the beginning, some time in the canyonlands of Utah, the thought came to me. It's interesting how we think about how things come to us, but this came to me to claim my first name. Most of you have known me as Greg. That's what my parents decided to call me. It's my middle name, but they named me Ian Gregory Cummins. Ian is a family name, and like I said, this summer it came to me that it was time to claim my whole name. And so poor Cindy and everybody else here, and of course the church, has been working hard to make this shift with me. I know it's a lot to ask, but it's been very meaningful for me. And I told the story that Greg means watchful or vigilant, which for me has a lot of personal kind of meaning, that's a lot of the way I've been in the world and wanting to let some of that go. And when I learned that Ian means God is gracious, it had a sense of the spaciousness of that and the trust that's involved in that. So there was great power there for me, and I think there is great power in names, and that's historically the case as well. I know at least in the Catholic tradition, when you are confirmed, you claim a new name. So John Kuzma was telling us when he was confirmed as a Catholic, was it St. Michael? I think it was that he claimed, took on that name and the power of that name. And of course, in lots of native cultures, there's a sense of naming is very important. Maybe not even naming the child when they're first born until some significant event has happened,
Right.
Or what's envisioned for that child to become. So names are probably more important, I think, than sometimes we give them credit for.
And in the Bible, of course, there are folks who are given new names. Abraham and Sarah are given new names when they are sort of commissioned to be out on a different kind of journey. I always remember from seminary days, I have no idea why I remember this, but the prophet Isaiah named two of his children, I guess with his wife's concurrence, named two of his children names that said something about the political situation in Israel at the time, and Isaiah actually gave them these names. One of them is Sheer Jazhub, that was his first son, and really catchy, which means a remnant shall return. It was a sign of hope to the people of Israel that even though tough times were ahead, that there would finally be hope and redemption for Israel. His second son he named Maher-Shalal Hashbaz, which actually is the longest name and the longest word in the Bible, and that means something like the plunder is coming, speed the spoils, here comes the plunder. And it was a warning to Israel that not to make alliances with the powerful Assyrian government and to stay true to God and to the reign, to King David, all of that. It was a way to call the nation back. And so those poor kids, grew up with names that had this political meaning.
No pressure on them.
Right, and I think in our own world, there's people who get political names because their parents hope that they're going to grow into some great political figure. So please, what we're just, thinking about is that for you to talk, maybe.
Yeah, we thought we'd keep it, simple this first time and just invite you to tell a story about your own name. Maybe you know the history of it, or maybe it's a family name, or if you know what it means, share that. You could even, I jokingly with my wife said, if I really got to be named what I wanted to be, it was Thor. Actually, I want to be called Thor.
Well, and my name, Cynthia. Ian asked me if my name had a particular meaning, and Cynthia actually means moon goddess. So, and I do have a particular fondness for the moon, but. I think at this point I'm going to stick with Cindy instead of the Reverend Dr. Moon Goddess. Doesn't seem quite right.
So whatever your story is, whatever names that you know the history of, or just play around with it tonight and tell each other some stories.
Have a wonderful time this evening, and we'll be back in a video next month, and we'll probably see you at church before then.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Bye, Moon Goddess.